Let's talk about the greatest computer on earth. It's right here between your ears. It has an operating system. It has storage. It has files. It's the greatest file keeper. It can have viruses. Your mind is like a computer that never turns off. It's constantly processing. Even when you're sleeping, it's constantly storing data. It's constantly deleting this over here that it doesn't want to see and paying attention to that. There's a piece in your mind called the reticular activating system that tells you what to notice, what to ignore. And we'll talk a little bit about that and maybe in some of the later teachings, because we're going to be talking about mindset maybe for the next several months. And we're starting something called Wisdom Wednesdays. And I hope that you all will tune in for that. We're going to be talking about things that matter to you. And let me just say, we have succeeded in life. There's a lot of things we've done. Have we reached our peak? Heck no. There is so much more. I heard this last night, Annette, and I think it's interesting. You know, God is into expansion. So no matter how successful you get or whatever you achieve in life, I don't care. Talk about the most successful person in the world. When they get successful and they reach that peak, they're going to be happy for a little bit. And then the urge to expand is going to kick in.
It's the nature of life to expand and grow and move beyond where you are. If you're not moving and growing, you're stagnant.
Yeah.
So you're either moving and growing or you're still and dying.
You know why? Because I would say the universe is a pretty big place, right? Well, the data is that it's still expanding.
Exactly.
Well, think about that. The universe is still expanding because God is into expansion. So he doesn't allow us to, oh, yes, he will allow you to, but you will be miserable in it if you don't expand and you choose to stay in a comfort zone, you know, all your life. So our goal in this session today is to help you to expand your mind, to help you to look at what is your mindset towards failure? What is your mindset towards defeat? What is your mindset towards success? What is your mindset towards yourself? What is your mindset towards business? And we're not going to tackle all of them. You know what I want to do tonight? I want to find the mindset, the one mindset that may be holding you back, the one mindset that may be keeping you stuck. Let's go after the Goliath in your life. Let's go after the mindset, because every one of us have one of them, Annette. Every one of us have some mindset that if we change that one mindset, then our life would change.
It only takes
It's a process. Yes.
It only takes one.
Yeah. Yeah. And
it's like, so, you ever seen those dominoes that people make patterns? Yep. They set them up.
Yeah.
They only tip one domino.
And it changes.
And the pattern changes.
Love it. Now that's a great analogy. So I like to say you're one mindset away from a whole new life. You're one mindset and sometimes one habit. So you're never as far away as you think you are. And tonight we're going to be talking about 3 mindset or 3 mind distortions that people fall into. But before I get into that, let me go a little bit further on how your mind works and why it's so important that you take care of it. Your mind is like a garden. And I don't know about you, but I go out in my yard, I planted good seeds and I see weeds and I see dandelions. I see things come up. I did not plant that. I don't know where it came from. Well, your mind constantly needs to be fed and it needs to be programmed by you. But watch this. If you don't program your mind, then your mind will be programmed by somebody else and other things, whether it's the 10 o'clock news, whether it's your friends, whether it's social media. Your mind never stops feeding. It's hungry. It has an insatiable appetite. That's why when you go on social media and you start scrolling and your mind will stop at that reel. It's like, I want to see that. You don't even know what the reel is going to be, but the mind is hungry. So if you don't feed it on purpose, it's going to feed on the environment. So you have to seed it. I actually did some yard work, Anetta. I did. Like, I know something about yard. People don't know that. I mean, look, I'm not just a businessman. I'm a father. I got two beautiful kids. I got a house to maintain, and I
Sure.
got stuff to do. And so I went out in the yard and I noticed, we had some bad spots in the yard. So in order for those spots to come back, I had to dig out the weeds. I had to dig out all the stuff that would keep grass from growing, because even if you plant new seed among all that weed, the weed is taking up that territory. It's saying, no, we belong here now. And that's how a thought can do. You can have a thought long enough that thought becomes an imagination according to the Bible, and then the imagination becomes a stronghold.
It's a belief.
It's a belief.
And all a belief is, when you break it down to its simplest terms, is a thought that you keep having that you don't question anymore.
Yeah.
That's all a belief is.
And let me just say this for those of you, because we're going to get into beliefs a little bit tonight, but let me say, this is heavy. I don't know if y'all ready for this. I hope y'all ready. Your beliefs become your personal law. So that means that if you believe something to be true, whether it's true or not, it becomes true for you. It doesn't become true for me. Let's use one like money. If you think it's hard to make money, that will become a law for you. It will become hard for you. Now, the thing to ask is not whether the belief is true or false. Ask, is this belief serving me? Is this belief serving me? Because sometimes we hold on to a belief, but I have to ask myself, is that belief serving me, or is it defeating me in some way? So your mind has to be guarded and protected, and you are the gardener. You have to seed it. You have to put topsoil. I didn't just plant seed. I put topsoil because soil is really important. Then you have to aerate it. You got to prepare it. So
I just thought about it. You have to seed it, feed it, and weed it. I love that.
You have to, and you got to do that with your mind. Man, have you ever, Annette, I love this. We could go here with this tonight too. But have you ever noticed you're doing something through today, you're doing your normal thing, and a thought comes through your mind that it's like, where did that come from? And it has nothing to do, it could be a bad thought, it could be a good thought, but let's just talk about if it's a negative thought. Give them the secret of what you do with that. We'll give the 1.5 minute version of what happened.
The process.
Yep.
So first of all, you don't have to believe everything you think.
Yeah.
And when some people hear that, it blows them away. A thought is just that. It's a thought. It's not a real thing. So if you have a thought that I'm too old to go back to school, let's just say that's the thought. If you don't challenge that thought becomes a belief, and you govern yourself according to that belief. So you're not going to look for classes that interest you. You're not going to look for anywhere to go to school. It just stops. If you take it to the next level and say, I just had the thought that I'm too old to go back to school. So now you're recognizing that as a thought. Then the next step is, I just noticed that I had the thought that I'm too old to go to school. So you want to move into the noticer position so that you are watching this instead of being in it.
Yeah.
Because if you're saying, I noticed I had the thought, you are no longer letting the thought control you. You want to become the person who's noticing the thought, not the victim of the thought.
And I think people think that their thoughts are theirs. Like that is, sometimes there's thoughts that come to us because of things you've seen in your life. Your mind is also, you have two minds. We're not going to get into the subconscious mind tonight, but you do. That subconscious is the most powerful part of the mind. It's the part that you push record. It's like pushing record when you're born, and it never stops recording until you die. Yeah. And the stuff that's in there, a thought can pop from your subconscious to your conscious mind. I even believe that's where some of the great inspirations come from. They come from the subconscious.
Yes.
Because see, our subconscious, when we arrived here on planet Earth, we had not yet been programmed by the world as to how to think. Our default settings were for success. I want to camp there for 1 second. When God made us, he set the default settings, just like you buy a computer, it has default settings. You haven't started installing software on it. So it can, and when you do install software, now it can run a program. Well, it's the same way with your mind. We were brought here. We came here with no fears. Ooh, interesting. We didn't come here with fears. You didn't have the fear of public speaking.
Falling.
Well,
That's
people say that, and it
with.
may be true. It may be true, but I don't know that a baby has a fear of falling automatically. I mean, maybe, but see, I mean, can we prove it? I don't know. But I've heard fear of falling in loud noises. I have heard that. So the thing about it is that over time, a baby hears no a whole bunch of times, stop a whole bunch of times, and all of it's being stored in the subconscious. So the thing that all of us need to realize, because we could go really, really deep on any part of this, is that you need to be the gardener, you need to be the protector, and you need to choose to program your mind. And congratulations for being here tonight. Congratulations for tuning into this, because it says you understand the importance of this. And I can tell you this, anything you're wanting to fix in your life right now, think about the thing that's bugging you. Think about the thing that's making you fear. Think about the thing that has stopped you from taking action. All of that's something that's going on in your mind. And once you break through, a lot of times to do the thing you're afraid to do, have the conversation you need to have with somebody, the thing that, and it's not enough to just do it, but sometimes in order to break it, you just do it. You have to do that thing. So
it's a little like swimming. You can read all the books in the world about swimming and the different strokes and how to hold your breath, but until you get in the water, you don't know how to swim.
Hey, and look, I'm going to touch on something here that I know hits a lot of people. Okay, this thing came alive over here. I got to unmute that. So there's a sense of worthiness that people struggle with, that I'm not worthy of this great success. I'm not enough. I don't deserve it. Well, first of all, I want to say to anybody that even has dealt with any of that, you do deserve it. Why? Because of your behavior? No, you deserve whatever dreams and visions that God has given you. You deserve to have it, but you have to say to yourself, and you have to accept that, guilt and shame. All of us have things that we regret. All of us have things that we could feel undeserving of it. As a matter of fact, we are undeserving of God's love, but it's his grace that gives us that. And your mindset, even towards what you think God thinks about you, could be the problem sometimes.
And sometimes we are adopting the thoughts other people have about us. They're not even ours. So if somebody says, I'm not good enough, when I'm coaching someone and they say, well, I'm not really good at that. My question is, whose voice is that?
Yeah, who told you that?
Where did you hear that the first time? Was that something you just automatically thought, well, no, I had a teacher who told me, or my mom or my dad told me, or my husband or my wife told me that I'm not fill in the blank?
I would say most people, that's where they're getting it from somebody else.
But we don't even question it. We assume because somebody said it, then it must be true.
Watch this, Annetta. Would God, the creator of the universe, that's constantly expanding and commands us to be fruitful and multiply, ever say to you, dream small? Have a small dream. Have a small life. Would God ever tell you to think smaller, tone that down? He doesn't know anything about toning anything down. He loves to do things extravagant. And that's why there's an abundance of everything that God makes that's important to life. There's an abundance of it. That air you just breathe right now, is there an abundance of it?
Yes.
Yeah, plenty of it to go around. There's enough money on planet Earth for everybody. I know that there's people that are poor. I get that. But it's not because there's not an abundance or enough.
Mhm.
So, yeah, so the sense of unworthiness we were just talking about a minute ago, I just want to kind of like, for anybody that you feel like it's too late, missing my boat, I made mistakes and now I'm disqualified. I know singles right now because Annetta just got married, and I think about this. She just got married. She's not like 30 years old, but she's looking young, and look, she's feeling a lot younger right now too, and she's been glowing ever since. But the thing about it is that if she believed that it was too late, that I'm past my time, then that belief would have become her law.
True. So
choose a new belief. Now, belief is only one part of mind. A belief and a mindset is actually different. They're similar, but a belief takes on a different life of its own. And so let's talk about a couple of other things real quick. One of the things I did early on to try to start reprogramming my mind was, I don't have my favorite book with me, but the Bible talks about being transformed by the renewing of your mind. Now, I can't really vouch for all the self-help books out there. There's 1,000 of them, and I've read some of them, and they're phenomenal. Annette, I never told you, there's one that I read, and it had this chapter in it called The Law of Mental Magnetism, and it talked about clarity and how when you get really crystal clear on something, how it becomes magnetic. Yes. And that's why it's really important for you to get clear on what you want. So think about this right now, because I'm about to do this with some people. I want you that are listening on Facebook and those that are listening to the replay to envision the life that you dream of as it would be if it happened or if it was happening. What would it look like? I want you to get a picture of that. Where would you be living? Would you be married? Would you be in another state, another country? Would you be retired? Would you be running your own business? Would you be speaking all over the world? Would you have a YouTube channel that's blown up? Would you be a social media phenomenon? Would you be touching millions of lives? Would you be winning millions of souls? What would you be doing if you were living your dream? And I'm putting that out there right now because I want you to get that image. Because I don't care what we've achieved, Annetta. If we were to go through that same filter, what would our life look like? Right.
And the other piece of that, not only should you see it, but you have to feel what it would feel like to have that. Because it's the feeling that becomes the magnet.
It does. It does. And that's really how the law of attraction and the law of the mind work. And so I wanted to cast that vision before you, and then I want to follow it up with, you deserve that. I want to follow it up with, you didn't come up with that. You didn't just come up with that. You came here with dreams in your heart that are bigger than you, and you want to co-create with him. He wants to co-create with you, and he wants to partner with you and help you. And so that's why you're at Fix Your Mind, Fix Your Life. This is part
instead of saying, yeah, but I want you to, for the time that we're with you, to say yes, and.
Love that.
Because yes is an affirmation that you can have it, and means there's something else on the other side of that to help you get there, instead of yeah, but.
So if you're liking some of this, put it in the chat. I'm loving this. And also put that in there. What was the phrase? Not yeah, but what was the phrase?
Not yeah, but yes, and.
Oh,
I mean, with that kind of enthusiasm.
Yes. Yeah. And so, there's so much for us. And so we're going to be talking in just a minute about 3 mind distortions. And one of the things I did, I'm going back to Romans chapter 12, verse 2, about being transformed by the renewing of your mind. I devoured the Bible for like almost 17 years. And I'm only sharing this with you to let you know there's a period in your life where you go all in. So I went all in, 17 years, didn't do a movie, stopped watching all that bad news, spent a lot of time in that book. I remember one day I sat down, I read the book of Proverbs. I read 90 chapters. I read it through 3 times in one sitting until tears began to come out of my eyes. I learned that the Bible is powerful. It started getting inside of me. Everything that I'm doing, I can't speak for anybody else, came because of those spiritual things, those spiritual practices that I did. Praying every day for 2 hours, 7 chapters a day in the word, memorize 2 scriptures, devouring the word. Because you know what? I came from the streets, y'all. I was a drug addict. So I didn't really know anything about self-help. I needed God. I wanted God. And even now, those that have everything intellectually, you can be still poor spiritually. Mm-hmm. So to me, it's the root of everything. And so that's how I ended up getting in, and I reprogrammed my mind. So let's get into the mindset distortions. Annette, are you ready for this? This is going to be fun.
I love this.
Yeah, we got enough time to do it too. So this kind of falls right in line with everything we just said about mindsets and why people don't achieve their dreams and their goals. Is because of something, one of these mindsets that we're about to talk about, and it's called magical thinking. Put that in the chat, magical thinking. So Annetta, let's talk about that. What is magical thinking?
It's the thing kids do. Magical thinking says everything will be better when I am thinner, smarter, when I move, when the kids leave, when I get divorced, when I get married, when I lose 10 pounds, when I gain 10 pounds. Yeah, everything will be better when. In other words, nothing can happen until this magical event, whatever that is in your head. As soon as my kids leave home, then I can have a life.
Yep. I can feel that one. I got two teenagers in my house, you all. And so
mine are grown and gone. So eventually they too leave.
I feel like you got it made, but I've heard that it never ends.
Well, the parenting just takes on another dimension. The older they get, different dimension. But people will say things like that. When I lose 20 pounds, then I can meet the love of my life.
And all the men are going to start noticing me too. I will find the love of my life. Well, that's magical thinking only because it might not be the pounds. Sometimes it's a mindset.
It's always the mindset when you think that, because it says you don't have any power to do anything in this moment. And all you have is this moment. You can't do something tomorrow, today. You can only do something today. You can plan on it for tomorrow, but it's also a sneaky way of not doing anything either, because it sounds good. Well, as soon as these kids leave, as soon as I get a better job, as soon as my car is paid off, as soon as my house is paid off. So you're working towards something, but you're also stalling something that you could be doing something about now.
Well, I thought about the whole, say, lose 20 pounds thing, lose 30 pounds thing. There are people that didn't lose 30 pounds and they got married. They found the love of their life, right? Watch this. There was a lady that kept thinking that, oh, I wish I knew her name. She kept thinking, when I lose this weight, I'm going to go and do my TED Talk. And she waited and she waited and she never lost the weight. You know what she did? She went and did her TED Talk before she lost the weight and crushed it and became more famous for doing the talk because she was vulnerable and able to share how she stopped herself from doing this thing because she kept waiting for when. That's called magical thinking.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's if or when this thing happens, then I can have blank, whatever that is.
So if anybody's doing that, if you can relate to that, first of all, put it in the chat, say I relate. And now that you know what it is, it's almost like I'm waiting for my life to take off, but it can't take off until this thing happens. I heard a phrase yesterday that I loved. I had never heard it before. You know how people are waiting till they're not afraid to do something? Watch
Mhm.
this. They're waiting till they're not afraid, until they don't feel the fear, then they're going to do it. I heard a lady yesterday say, fear ain't going nowhere. So put it in the front seat. We're going to ride together. Love that.
Yes,
Love
I
that.
love that.
Love that. We're going to ride
Well,
together. Come on, let's
you were
go,
ta-
fear.
You were talking about one of your favorite books. One of my favorite books, and I reread it every few years, is by the late Susan Jeffers. It's called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to feel the fear, because arguing with it and saying it shouldn't be there, or I should have more faith than that, it's an argument that you'll never win. The fear is there. Go into it, feel it, find out where is this coming from? When was the last time I felt this way? When I felt this way, did what I think was going to happen happen? No,
Right.
I'm still here. So what is this trying to teach me? You got to stare that thing in the face. You can't
And
run
guess
from
what?
it.
You know what I love too? And you might even have to ask yourself, what am I really afraid of? Because sometimes it's not just fear. I have found that there's 4 fears that stop people from taking action. One of them is fear of failure. But watch this.
Yes.
We can go deeper on that one. Another one is fear of criticism. What are others going to think?
Oh,
We got a
big
mindset
one.
coming up about this one in a couple of minutes. So do not even think about not hearing the rest of this, because this next one is going to blow you away. But fear of criticism. Like a lot of people, their fear in their life is being controlled by what they think others will think. If they fail, if they do something and it doesn't work, it doesn't look, or whatever. The bottom line, we just nailed one for everybody. I would say if you're here, you want to see your life take on a whole new dimension. The one thing, I would say this is almost the trump card. I have a teaching over here that I do, and I'm almost tempted to bring it, but I won't. But it's called the comfort zone teaching, where I teach about you leave the comfort zone and you move into the growth zone. See, there's 3 zones. There's the comfort zone, there's the growth zone, and there's the God zone. And I created that whole saying and that whole thing about the God zone. I better write the book before somebody tries to take it, but I'm not afraid of that either, because they don't have the revelation I got on that. There's a God zone that he wants you to move into, where miracles, oh man, that's where the mate is. That's where the husband is. That's where the dreams are. That's where the business is. That's where the money is. That's where all the action is. And I actually read a scripture yesterday out of the Message Bible, and it talked about going out there where the action is. God was saying, this is where the action is. It's with me. Come out into deep waters where the action is. But you
And all those things you want,
yeah,
are already there. They're just waiting for you to catch up with them.
Ooh.
If there's a person you want to spend your life with, that person's already out there. But you have got to become what you want to attract by how you are thinking about what you deserve. So when we say fix your mind, fix your life, that's not some, nice saying. Your life can literally change by changing your mind.
Wow. And that's why I asked you all to start off with, what would your ideal life look like? Annetta, I'm glad you brought that point home. Fix your mind, fix your life. We didn't name it that because it's cute. The problem is there, and it can just sit there. Like, imagine it's like a file on a computer. But if you were to go into your folders, right? Have you gone into your folder and deleted a file before? But watch this though. Oh, I ain't never said this before. That's kind of cool. When you do that, it didn't really get deleted. It's now in your recycling bin. If you know anything about computers, it's in the recycling bin now, but it's still on your hard drive. Now you got to go into the recycling bin. I know for my computer, it's like this. Now, some of y'all might be Mac users. Maybe it's not called that, but I'm talking about PCs. So you got to go into the recycling bin and now delete it from there. Now it's gone. So it shows the thing didn't even want to go. But the reason why they have it like on computers is because in case you deleted the file accidentally. That's
Mhm.
why you have a recycling bin. But I see the mind that way. Your mind is like a computer. It has these past files. And if the file says that if I do this thing, I might get rejected, that might be the file. The file is fear of rejection. I don't like how I felt when I did that before. Watch this, everybody. They took these rats and they put this food in front of these rats, and these rats came in and they would eat the food. I know we're going back to magical thinking, but we hit it. The rats would eat the food. And then one day they applied an electrical shock to the food plate. So every time the rats would go there, now they would experience a shock, right? They let that shock treatment go on for days and days and days. Finally, they removed the shock mechanism, but the rats would go around, look around the food, and they would never eat again for fear of what? Fear of being shocked. They died with a delicious plate of food right in front of them because they were now successfully programmed that when I do this, I get pain. Now, this is what happens to people when you share your dream with somebody and they say, really? Now you don't want to share your dream because you got shocked.
You are.
Right. You got shocked. Now you don't want to go for it because the last time you failed. That has nothing to do. Me and Annette, Annetta, we're doing it right now with this mindset thing, right?
Yeah.
We did a lot of seminars and we did mindset before. It wasn't the most successful. I said, Annette, we need to do this again because people are having trouble with their minds. So let's go back to magical thinking so we can go to the next one. Was there any other thing we want to make sure we nail down on magical thinking?
Make sure. I think it's important to recognize when you're doing it, you're just stalling.
Yep.
Because if you don't do anything, you can't get a quote unquote bad result, whatever that is. You know, there's a wonderful saying by Nelson Mandela: I never lose. I either learn or I win.
Like that.
What if you adopted that kind of thinking?
I love that. I
never lose. I either learn or I win.
Oh, I love that.
Love that. Great?
Y'all
I have that T-shirt.
Somebody put that one in the chat and somebody claimed that. That means you ain't never lost.
No.
How can I lose?
You can't. You either learn or you win.
Exactly. Love that. So let's go to the next mindset.
And I want to talk a minute about the fear piece, because every one of these distorted ways of thinking that we're talking about, the foundation is fear.
Yep.
It's fear. And so what do you do with fear? It's like when you have a bad dream and you wake up, what do? You're like, oh, okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. But you have to come down out of that state that you're in. Fear is the same way. Fear has you like this, but just breathe into it. Okay, it's just a thought. Nothing has happened. I'm okay. Where did that come from?
I love that.
Because you can't address it if you don't allow yourself to go through feeling it.
Well, let's talk about one that we're doing right now that a lot of people will be able to relate to that watch the replay. Going live. Do you know how long it took me to go live? I've done a bunch of lives now, but I'm saying the fear of doing live was it's live. You can't edit it. You can't fix it. Whatever, whatever you do. And man, we have seen some of if you ever want to see some funny stuff, go on YouTube and look at live stuff that happened on camera. You're a journalist. You know that.
That was never a fear for me because I was a TV news anchor. The newscast is always live. So
I've seen some funny things happen there though.
Oh, I have been a part of some funny things that have happened on the air. Trust me.
Embarrassing moments. But you know what? This is where we got to be like a baby. We talked about babies having the fear of falling. Well, watch them when they're learning to walk. Do you think they've gotten over the fear of falling? Watch them when they're learning to walk. They're not afraid to fall.
Take a lesson from a baby learning to walk. Most of the time when they start, they fall.
Yeah.
So they go, that's it.
They might even laugh.
I'm not trying this anymore. I'm going to crawl. I'm going to be crawling when I'm 30.
Oh,
I'm going to be scooting around on my bottom. This walking thing is not for me because I fell.
Man, somebody's getting this right now. I'm going here prophetically, I am, that you need to pick up the pieces and try again. Sometimes you need to do the same thing you failed at again. And guess what? It's going to work this time. And if it doesn't, but you know you should be doing it, then do it again. Like some things like public speaking, I have a buddy of mine who just sweated every time he got in front of the camera, but he just kept doing it until he didn't sweat no more. And he overcame this thing, and it made him over $1 million, just working with me in Circle of Champions. And so I know fear is probably the biggest test to your dream. That's the Goliath all of us have to face. All right, let's get into this second one, Annette. Are you ready?
Yes.
This second one is different. These are mind distortions. These are things that trip us all up. And I know that there's some people right now, this kind of ties right in to what we just did, magical thinking. And this one is called mind reading. It's called mind reading. And mind reading is, I'm going to let Annette tell you what mind reading is.
It's when you make assumptions about what other people are thinking. And we say things like that. I know you think I'm so and so and so and so, and I know what you're going to say. You're going to say so and so and so and so. And don't talk to me about this anymore, because all you're going to do is say this, and that. How many times do you hear people say that? Or you think you're such and such and such. They're mind reading on you. We have no clue what somebody else is thinking, but we will make life decisions.
Yes.
Life decisions based on what we think somebody is thinking, because that's what we're thinking.
So Annette,
we're reading
their minds. I used to have people come to Circle of Champions event, and they hadn't been in a long time. And I hadn't seen them. And the first thing they said is, I know you think that I forgot about Circle of Champions. So I know you're upset with me because I haven't been. I'm thinking, I'm not upset with you. Who told you that? I'm not upset with you. I'd rather you be out there doing what we taught you than to be sitting in the seminar after 3, 4, 5 years, right? Still learning. I want you to come back. But it's funny. All of us do it. Think about how you think. You know what somebody else is thinking, or you're thinking they're thinking that, and they may not be thinking that at all.
And then you react to them
on that belief,
based on what you think they're thinking.
That's
how many times do we do that? We have a thought that we think somebody is having, and then we react to them as if it was true. And they look at us like, just like this person. What are you talking about?
It happened to me today, Annette. But when we did our last Mindset Reset Challenge, there was a gentleman who was going to either move or he was going for a job interview. But I think his mindset, I think this kind of came up around it because his mindset was, they're going to think I'm too old. I know that they're going to think this already. So he's reading the person that's going to interview him. He's reading their mind before he even gets to the interview.
Think about, you think that other person is going to feel that?
It affects how you show up.
Mm-hmm.
And it also, you may get the exact thing that you felt and you mind read because you went in with that.
We're powerful creators.
Yeah. Yeah.
We create our circumstances, our relationships every single minute. Mm-hmm. Based on what we're thinking.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have to be careful about trying to read other people's minds and assuming you know what they're thinking. Like, okay, let's put this over into dating for a minute. Okay, so if a person wanted to go and meet somebody, right? They're in the same space, they want to go and meet, but they start reading the mind of the person they want to meet and saying, you know what, they're already going to think, that I'm too young, or
I'm too old.
Well, I'm too old.
Yeah.
And then you know what happens? You never take the action to go to meet them. And guess what? They may have been already saw you, already interested in you. I know this because I was on the dating scene. I knew that there were people that wanted that to happen. They wanted you to come over, but you read their mind.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you talked yourself out of the opportunity to just say hello. How often do we do that with businesses we want to build, books we want to write, music we want to write. I was on a class not too long ago, and the person leading the class was asking this woman who was a musician why she hadn't published her music. Well, I don't know if people are going to like it. And he said, well, how are you going to know if you don't release it? Well, what if I release it and nobody buys it? And he said, what if you release it and it becomes a hit? And she kept putting roadblocks in her own way.
Okay.
Every time he would give her some encouragement, she would tell him why it wouldn't work.
See, Annetta, I mean, that's a discussion to have right there as to why people build a case against themselves and why. I have a saying in here, and I didn't say it, your mind can be your best friend or your worst enemy. It's like there's nobody even against you. It's yourself doing that. Somebody's trying to support you, trying to encourage you. So if you're listening to this and you've ever done that, I want to say, you have to have a different mindset when it comes to, people are out to help me succeed.
Wouldn't that be wonderful?
I'm not thinking somebody's against me. There are people that walk around thinking people are against them. That's a mindset.
And they show up that way.
And let's do one more mindset reading thing. I remember Joyce Meyer said this, and preachers do it. But they have to, just like, I know they don't want me to take an offering. Well, did they tell you they didn't? I know sometimes people take too many. I get that. But I'm not sitting there saying don't do it. Or watch this, in business, they don't want me to make an offer. There's somebody sitting out there wanting you to make an offer.
Or they'll think it's too much.
Oh, they're going to think it's too much.
So I can't.
So you're lowering the price before you ever even try to offer it?
Right.
Oh, I would love to camp there on that one. That is powerful right there.
Well, that's it. There's a famous quote that was attributed to Henry Ford. It said, if you think you can, or you think you can't, either way, you're right.
Watch this then. Okay. So they think I'm not qualified. You can look, okay, so I'm talking to the coaches out there right now. Talk to the coaches out there. If you're not careful, you'll be mind reading that people are going to think something because you don't have a certification. Or they're going to think you're not qualified because you don't have a large social media following. I wish I could tell you the real secret is that God will always provide people who are interested in what you have to offer. And if you're bold enough to do it, he will give you that first sale if you need to. I started with a $5 cassette. I remember offering my first 1,000. I'm skipping on up, and somebody bought it. And yeah, was I shocked? Yeah, they just bought it for $1,000, then a $2,000, then a $5,000, then a $10,000, then a $20,000. I told Annetta recently, the only thing I haven't sold is the thing I won't offer, or the thing I have. I know it's the only thing I haven't sold. I have $50,000 clients. I have clients that have paid me that way. I know some have hundreds of thousands. Hey, I have $50,000 clients. So, and guess what? It's not about just the money, folks. It's about the lifestyle. This place I have right here, I built this, man. I get to do this live stream out of my birthing room here that I formed. It's all about lifestyle, getting to travel, getting to do all of those things. So money becomes a scorecard, but when you have enough money to do things you want to do and serve the people you want to serve and give to the places you want to give, that's really the victory, because it's not just, I have found, Annetta, watch this, good mindset. I thought when I got a certain amount of money that I wasn't going to worry about money. And you know what I learned? Almost every person that I talk to, I'm talking about the celebrities, the big ones, they say you don't ever really feel 100% safe,
right,
with whatever it is you have built up. You don't ever really feel, because you could lose it.
Well, and all you have to do is look at people like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. Do you think Jeff Bezos says with Amazon, okay, I'm good?
Right. No.
Or Elon Musk, okay, I'm one of the richest men on the planet. I'm all right. They're constantly pushing the limit of what's possible for them.
And there's something people need to know about this. just like COVID hit the world 3 years ago, there were people that were very comfortable and had it made doing what they were doing. I go down to DC now, it's dead. It's like so many vacant buildings because when people stopped going to work, commuting to work, those businesses relied on that. Life is set up that if you get really comfortable, then here comes your test.
Look out.
Because God's goal is for you to continue to grow and expand. So nobody gets to be comfortable, but for so long. I don't care who you are.
And that's an important distinction, Bob. The more uncomfortable you are, the more there is for you to do. Because if you're not doing that thing you were put here to do, you're not going to have any peace. You just won't.
Man, that's heavy, man. It's heavy. And it's true. It's true. So we got to keep growing. So we got one more mindset for you. So we just covered magical thinking.
Yes.
Mind reading. And I hope y'all like that. And I hope you all can see when you do it. One thing I can guarantee, Annetta, our students that went through this before with us, once you know it, you're going to recognize when you're doing it.
Yes. That's the beauty
mind
of
reading
learning.
right now. I'm mind reading.
That's the beauty of learning.
Yeah.
You know, Einstein said, you cannot solve a problem with the same mind that created it.
Yeah.
In other words, you're not designed to fix all your own stuff because you can't see it. It's like your nose. It's right here, but you can't see it.
That's funny. That's funny. And that's, it's the truth. Oh my goodness, this is good. I'm enjoying this because right now I'm about to do something in a few weeks and I'm going to invite people to do it with me. I'm about to create a new life. Now, what does that mean? It means that God allows us the power to do that. And he co-creates with us. And I know what that new life looks like. And some people, that's a problem. You don't have the clarity. You don't know what that will look like. I'll be happy to help you with that. Let's go to this next one. This next one, every single person probably does this at some point.
My gosh.
And I did
several times a day.
I did it last week. I did it last week. So for those of you that are just joining us, this is Fix Your Mind, Fix Your Life. If you fix your mind, tell you can fix anything in your life because that's where the problem is. Your mind is actually so powerful that it's creating the life. What you're thinking right now is creating something for you in your future.
Yes.
What you're saying right now is creating something for you in your future. So we just talked about 2 mind distortions. This third one is called catastrophizing.
Catastrophizing is like
catastrophizing.
It's every bad thing that could possibly happen is going to happen, and it's going to happen right now. It's like the worst possible thing is going to happen as a result of something I said, did, didn't do, didn't say.
And so let's bring this home so you can really feel what this means. Catastrophizing means sometimes, and it happened to me last week, I was dizzy. I was having trouble with balance, and my mind started catastrophizing. Oh, this could be this. This could be this. Next thing I know, man, and then my vision was blurred. And it's like, I felt like Fred Stanford. This is the big one. This is the big one. And I wasn't thinking heart attack. I seriously wasn't. But you can have the smallest thing happen to you. You can have a headache. And what will your mind do with that, Annetta?
Oh my gosh, I got a brain tumor.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's funny.
We go there.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
We go there.
Uh-huh.
You know? Oh my goodness. My grandmama had that same headache.
Yeah, yeah.
She died.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
We all do.
Yeah, we do. We do.
When nobody gets out of this thing called life alive.
Yeah, I read today where 120 years from now, all of us will be gone. And there'll be a new set of people on planet Earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
So catastrophizing is taking something to an extreme. It's making something way bigger than what it is. And that's the mind painting the worst picture. I like to say that the mind is a great script writer. Yeah. It will write a script to something that has never happened. I think the mind has written the most scripts that never became movies, but it tormented the person who read the script.
Well, you know, Bob, I love quotes.
Uh-huh.
And one of my other favorites is Mark Twain. He said, I've had many troubles in my life, and some of them have actually happened.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. And so there's some people out here right now. Watch this. You get a month behind in your rent, or you get on your mortgage, or you have something that's going on with your money and your bills, and you're coming up short. What's a way people start catastrophizing, Annetta?
I'm going to lose my house. I'm going to get evicted.
I'm going to lose my house. I'm going to lose my car. My credit's going to be bad.
Mm-hmm. We go from I'm a week late on the rent or the mortgage to I'm going to lose my house. I'm late with my rent. I'm going to be evicted. There's a lot of steps in between being a week late and getting kicked out on the street. But we tend to go all the way to the worst possible thing.
So let me just say this. I did that. So I've been an entrepreneur all my life. And I remember when I first launched out into business, in the back of my mind, because I took a risk. When I say, you know, I never worked a job, I worked at my church. That felt like a job because I actually was employed by the church for a period of time. But before that, I was in business. I went from business to working in the ministry. So just want to clarify that that's the only thing I had that ever felt like a job, but it was a ministry calling. But I remember when I left that, right? Watch this. I left that. So for the first time in my life, I had a paycheck. I had my corner office. I had my parking space. I had health insurance. What? I got stuff that people love to have because it equals security, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's security. Well, it's not really, just so you know. We talked about AI today is replacing people's jobs, but we ain't gonna get into that. But watch this. I left that job, and for the first year, because I was making that money and it was guaranteed, now I got to make it on my own. Am I going to lose my house? Am I going to lose my car? Am I going to lose my wife? Am I going to look like a fool? I went through that stuff because my bank accounts went down to $29. I'm not talking about $29 in each account. I'm talking about $29 in 4 bank accounts. I had 4 bank accounts combined. It was $29 in those accounts.
Wow.
I had built a new house. I'm driving a Benz and I'm busted. Can I tell y'all a long story short? Oh yeah, I catastrophize. But then when you start thinking about it, have not people lost their houses, lost their cars, lost their credit? This happens every day, folks. It happens to people. And it didn't happen to me. And guess what? I never even took a business loan. I didn't have a family member come to the rescue. I had one thing that happened. I planned one event, and that one event jump-started things again. And here's was the lesson. And maybe somebody out here needs to hear this lesson. You won't read this and get this in college. God will allow you to come to the end of your limited resources so that he can take you in to his unlimited resources.
Love that.
That was the lesson he was teaching me. He let me come to the end because God cannot show you who he is unless he lets you run out of options. I know. Wow. That is like
you are just pulling those beautiful nuggets.
No, but it's true though. And those that are watching me right now, you know it's true. If he doesn't allow you to come to the brink of what looks like disaster, where you need the Red Sea parted, you're never going to know that he's your source. You're never going to know that he's got your back. You're never going to know that he will make a way where there is no way. So somebody listening may be in that place right now. It's like, you don't have any options and you don't see any options. Well, if you put your faith and trust in the God you say you serve, then he's going to show you, I'm the God that makes a way. So when that happened to me, I didn't know that that's what was happening. And then he took me to the scriptures. Elijah at the brook dried up. He was where God told him to go. Had God told me to go into business? Yes. Had God told me to launch out? Yes. And I know I'm kind of ranting a little bit right now because I feel there's somebody I'm speaking to that's actually just resonating with this, because you're at that place right now and you're afraid. You're scared. You don't know. And that's not everybody. But it's scary when you watch your savings go down to nothing.
Mhm.
It's scary when the business dries up and nothing's coming in. Trust me, I know. I've been through that. I've been
Yep.
to the brink. And I've seen
Anybody who's in business has been there.
back against the wall, don't see no options, and then bam. And so that happened. But guess what? I thought it would never happen again. 10 years went by, and then a recession hit from 2000 to 2010. And I hit another space where it's okay. Needham, God, you got me. So all these years I've been doing this, never had to go take a job, never had to go and ask my family to help me out or whatever, because I think that it's really important for those of you that are people of faith and you're listening. This thing we're talking about, fix your mind, fix your life. I want you to have this mindset. The Lord is on my side. He's got my back. That's a mindset that I have now. I just trust and know he's going to come through. The only question is, how are you going to do it this time?
Yeah.
How are you going to do it this time?
That's
and how is none of my business too.
That's not the yeah, but that's the yes and.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And just like you created the thought that this is the worst thing that can happen, or I don't know how I'm going to get out of this, or they'll never pay me to do whatever. You're making that up. You're making it up.
Yeah.
So since you're going to make up something, why not make up a thought that empowers you?
Oh, that is good.
My perfect client is one yes away.
Yep.
The people I was put here to serve are waiting for me. I'm this close to finding them. And so when you look at people who have achieved their dreams, don't hate. They just didn't get out of line. We've all had to stand in line for something. The people who made it to the front of the line didn't get out of line.
Yeah.
They stayed in line.
Yeah. So if y'all are loving this and if this is helpful to you, then first of all, show us some love in the chat, because we can't see y'all. This is different, Annetta. We used to doing the Zoom conferences. We see everybody. They're always in the room. This is different. And so I love being able to see your faces, but I hope that you all have been inspired by this. So, whatever it is that you're looking at right now, catastrophizing is seeing the worst. I was going to show you this passage, and I think I have a chance to do it really quickly. This passage right here is about catastrophizing, and it was a passage when Moses has sent 12 spies to go to spy out the land. And I want to show you this because it's really powerful what the Bible says about this. Check this out. So you probably know the story. 12 spies was sent out 40 days, spy out the land. And here's what happened. They came back and they told him and said, we came to the land whither thou sent us. We're talking about mindsets right here. And surely it flows with milk and honey. And this is the fruit of it. But watch this. Nevertheless, the people be strong that dwell in the land, and the cities are walled and very great. And moreover, we saw the children of Anak there. Watch this. And the Amalekites dwell in the land of the south, and the Hittites and the Jebusites and the Amorites dwell in the mountains, and the Canaanites dwell by the sea and by the coast of Jordan. Watch this. Caleb stilled the people before Moses and let us go up at once and possess it, for we are well able to overcome it. Watch this. But they said, but the men that went up with us said, we be not able. That's a mindset. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
We be not able to go up against the people because they're stronger than we. Wait a minute. Watch this. You're going to see a mindset here. And they brought up an evil report of the land which they searched out, the children of Israel, saying, the land through which we have gone to search it is a land that eats up its inhabitants thereof. And the people we saw in it are men of great stature. Watch this. And there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, and which come of the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers. But Annetta, the part that gets me is, check this out. And so were we in their sight. What is that, Annetta? Mind reading.
Mind reading.
How do you know what you were in their sight?
Catastrophizing.
Did they tell you that?
Yeah. And
Right.
catastrophizing.
Did they tell you you're grasshoppers?
But that's catastrophizing too. They hadn't even gone in there. They defeated themselves in their own minds.
Exactly. And so reason why I'm ending with this passage is because a mindset that's a defeated mindset will quit before it ever starts. It's like we even saw the fruit, but we saw the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and we asked the giants what they thought, and they said, yeah, you all are grasshoppers. That's kind of what that interpretation could be, because how would you know what they're thinking?